My child, pull your stool closer. Let me tell you a story, not of a king with a golden crown, but of a man with a faith that moved mountains, a man whose name was whispered by the stars and whose destiny was etched in the dust of a great land. His name was Abram, and his journey was a seed from which nations would grow.
In the ancient city of Ar, a city of towering gods and bustling markets, lived a man named Abram. He was rich with flocks and herds, but his heart was heavy. His wife, the beautiful Sarai, was barren. Her womb, a place meant for life, was as silent as a forgotten tomb. The shame of childlessness in his family was a burden that weighed on his spirit. Then one night, a voice, not of man but of the heavens themselves, spoke to him. It was a voice that rumbled with the power of 1,000 storms and was as gentle as a morning breeze. It said, "Leave your country, your people, and your father's household. Go to the land I will show you. I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing to all people on earth." Abram did not question the voice. He did not ask for a sign. He gathered his household, his wife Sarai, his nephew Lot, and all their possessions. He turned his back on the life he knew and stepped into the wilderness, his only guide a promise he had heard in the dark. He was a man on a journey to a land he had never seen, following a God he had only just met. The journey was long and hard. They faced the scorching sun, the biting wind, and the relentless emptiness of the desert. When a famine struck the land of Canaan, their promised destination, Abram was forced to go to Egypt. There, in a moment of fear and human weakness, he told the Pharaoh that Sarai was his sister, fearing the Egyptians would kill him to take his wife. It was a lie born of terror, and it brought trouble to the Pharaoh's house. But God, the protector of the promise, intervened. He sent a plague, revealing the truth, and Pharaoh, in his fear, sent Abram and his family away with even more wealth. Abram was flawed, my child. His faith was a flickering flame, not a roaring fire. But even when his faith faltered, God's promise stood firm. As their wealth grew, so did the friction. The herdsmen of Abram and his nephew Lot began to quarrel. The land could not support both their great flocks. In a moment of wisdom and generosity, Abram said to Lot, "Let there be no strife between you and me, for we are brothers. Is not the whole land before you? Separate yourself from me. If you take the left, I will go to the right, or if you take the right, I will go to the left." Lot chose the rich, fertile lands near the city of Sodom. Abram, now alone, was once again given a powerful promise from God. His descendants would be as numerous as the dust of the earth, and the land he walked on would belong to them forever. Years passed. Abram and Sarai grew old, their hair like snow, their skin like withered leather. The promise of a son seemed to be a fading dream, a cruel joke. Sarai, in her desperation, gave her servant Hagar to Abram to bear him a child. From this union, Ishmael was born. He was a son of man's plan, not of God's promise. And in his birth, a new kind of strife entered their house. Then one day God appeared to Abram again. He changed his name to Abraham, the father of a multitude, and Sarai's to Sarah, the princess. And he promised that a son would be born to them in their old age. When Sarah overheard this, she laughed to herself, a hollow, bitter sound. "After I am worn out and my Lord is old, will I now have this pleasure?" she thought. But God, who sees all, asked Abraham, "Is anything too hard for the Lord?" The next year, against all human reason, Sarah gave birth to a son. They named him Isaac, which means he laughs. The name was a testament to their doubt, and a celebration of God's impossible, glorious promise. When Isaac, the son of the promise, was a young man, God spoke to Abraham again, a command so shocking it would have shattered the faith of any other man. Take your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love, and go to the land of Moriah, and offer him there as a burnt offering on one of the mountains that I shall show you." Abraham did not hesitate. He trusted in the giver of the promise. He took his son, the wood and the fire, and made the 3-day journey. Isaac, innocent and trusting, asked his father, "Father, here is the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for the burnt offering?" And Abraham, with a heavy heart but a steady voice, replied, "My son, God will provide for himself the lamb for a burnt offering." On the mountain, Abraham bound his son. He raised the knife, his hand trembling not with doubt, but with the immense sorrow of a father. But just as he was about to strike, the voice of the angel of the Lord called from heaven, "Abraham, Abraham, do not lay a hand on the boy. Now I know that you fear God, because you have not withheld from me your son, your only son." In that moment, Abraham saw a ram caught in a thicket. God had provided. He had shown that he desired not a sacrifice of blood, but a sacrifice of the heart. Abraham lived a long and fruitful life. He buried his beloved Sarah, and he saw his son Isaac marry and have children. He lived to be 175 years old, a great ancestor who had seen the promise begin to unfold before his very eyes. His story is not just about a man who was promised a nation. It is a story about a man who walked in the dark with nothing but a voice to guide him. It is a story of faith tested and proven, of a love that was willing to give up its most precious possession. His faith became the river that flowed from that moment, nourishing all the generations that would come after him. He was the father of nations not because of his greatness, but because he was a man who trusted the giver of all promises.